Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Tell us about the Air Force plans to pair up manned aircraft with unmanned aircraft.
The Air Force is trying to flesh out a new vision for air operations right now. It's one where pilots fly into combat with a team of autonomous drones by their side. These drone wingmen that top Air Force leaders are envisioning, they could do multiple things. They could scout ahead and find targets, they could jam enemy signals, maybe even launch their own missiles. Now, this is something the Air Force has been looking at for a while. For example, they've had a Skyborg program that is an AI wingman program that had a test flight in a drone last April, and the Australians, the Royal Australian Air Force, has been experimenting with their Loyal Wingman program, which is kind of a similar deal. They're trying to take some lessons from it. But recently, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall has been talking more and more about this, and he thinks this could work. He thinks it's not just a crazy idea, as he said.
And why are they even looking at this technology?
Well, for the last 20 years, the Air Force has been conducting operations in the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and the airspace has been pretty much uncontested, meaning they haven't had to deal with enemy fighters, they haven't had to deal with air defenses, things like that. But now the military is preparing for a high-end fight, a potential battle against a peer or a near-peer adversary, such as China or Russia. And if worse were to come to worse and a conflict with those nations were to break out, those nations have a lot more air defenses, a lot more fighters, the airspace would be greatly contested and pilots would be at risk. What the Air Force is hoping for is to have these unmanned drone wingmen extend the pilot's reach and take on some of the tasks that the pilots wouldn't have to do.
Where are they right now? What's a snapshot of the U.S. Air Force's capability with this?
Well, right now it's just been in kind of a experimental phase. I mentioned the Skyborg program that they've been using to figure out whether AI wingmen could work. DARPA has been experimenting with a program called Gremlins, where they've been proving that they can reach out and capture a drone in flight. So there's been a couple of programs that are that they've experimented with, but we'll see in the near future whether this spells out to the Air Force expanding some of these efforts.
And talking about expanding and personnel-wise, is it going to take more people to do this on the ground?
I'm not sure if it would take more people on the ground. It's right now it'll be a they'll have to do more research to figure out. There are a lot of things that still have yet to be determined. For instance, what payloads these drones might carry, how the pilots might control them, how to deploy them. Secretary Kendall has talked about these unmanned wingmen running plays, and the pilot would be kind of a quarterback. What kind of plays would these drones run? These are all questions that have to be sorted out.
And let's move over to another story that you have with Lockheed Martin. They decided not to move forward on a controversial buy.
Yes, Lockheed Martin since December 2020 has been working on trying to acquire Aerojet Rocketdyne. Last month, the Federal Trade Commission sued to block the Lockheed Aerojet acquisition on antitrust grounds. There were concerns that if Lockheed acquired Aerojet, that it could limit competition. It would make it harder for competitors to acquire some of the things like rocket engines that Aerojet provides, and the FTC raised antitrust concerns. Just this past weekend, Lockheed announced that they had decided to terminate the deal and no longer go forward with it.
And Lockheed Martin CEO Jim Taiclet did say that it could be that they would be efficient if they brought in Aerodyne. There would be an efficient company that would provide to throughout the defense industry. What did he mean by that?
Yeah, that was Lockheed's explanation of how they felt this would benefit. Lockheed argued that they would bring Aerojet's engineering operations, for example, under their own umbrella, and by combining efforts, They said things would operate a lot more smoothly and save costs by bringing everything in one operation. Um, they expressed regret that it didn't go forward. They said a lot of good could have come of that. The FTC disagreed, and that was kind of the end of that acquisition, it seems.
It seems there's a lot of eyes on Aerojet right now. Why is it in demand right now?
They make a lot of vital missile components, most notably propulsion equipment such as scramjet engines for hypersonic missiles and control systems for missile interceptors.
Well, Steve, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.